Let me get out of here, folks, because these folks don't like it when you play their songs in the background. Alright. And the night, I could not really decide what I wanted to do. I was tempted to play Other Side, but unless you practice that game for a bit, I ain't got all night to remember what to do in them. Ooh. I'm sorry, this is a bad introduction. This is Hermit's Gambit, and welcome back to our stream. It's Random Friday, folks. Random Stream Friday. This is the stream where I play whatever's on my mind. Today we're going to do Vampire, the Masquerade, Couriers of New York. Exciting, no? Ooh, dang, it's quiet. Let's see. Let me set this up. That's tonight. Y'all, I got my candy for the gonna pick out some movies on Shudder. I'm gonna see Night of Demons. I never saw that before. And I'm probably gonna, I think Society. I remember G-Man Lives was recommending some stuff. Alrighty. My bit rate's non-existent. Okay. I'm sure it'll hear eventually. Well, guys, you get ready for my stunning voice acting. Yeah, we're gonna do something different this weekend. I know Skyrim's gonna be on a little hold this weekend. I think we're gonna play. There's a game I want to play for Saturday and Sunday. And Sunday I might do it early because I want to watch movies the rest of the day. So Saturday and Sunday will be a different game, and we'll return back to Skyrim next week. With that out of the way, let's get started. Get my roast ready. Got my drink, my Gatorade fruit punch. Let's go. Well, Gambetto, I think we've both already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. But let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to new fruitful partnership. She raises her hands at one of the well-dressed concierges who have now reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches with a carafe of red liquid. He pours it into 2 glasses. It's blood again, that much is clear. You're in 2 minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger makes you wince. You take a tentative sip. You expected the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago, but this one you can actually savor. It's smoky and warm, making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood, but it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think New York City caterers have very bourgeoisie ideas about what good blood should taste like. Apologies, you must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. Let's see, which one? I feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? The sad reality is it will never go away. No matter how much you drink, you will always be tempted to have more. Unless you consume someone wholly to the last drop, paying for temporary relief with their life, that is a one-way road to losing your humanity. Best start by just taking a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Hot, fresh blood will be most satiating than most anything they serve in a fancy glass, but it can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, it depends. If you're frugal, you can survive many nights without a single drink, but it's risky and will tempt the beast that is part of our curse. Tomorrow I shall take you hunting and we will explore this topic further. The blood you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. The prince mentioned something about you and me being like sire and child. What does that mean? Helena, I mean Prince Panhard, spared you on the condition that I take responsibility for you. Normally, a sire and child are close. One begets the other, after all. Our relationship might not be exactly that of a sire and child, but it's treated as such by our laws. That we do not share blood does not matter. You must therefore defer to me in all things. I don't wish to use the right of destruction that the prince granted me, so I'll appreciate it if you don't give me a reason to. I promised I'd guide you, and I meant it. Treat me as your mentor and superior, and I will treat you as my loyal retainer and understudy. With me, you can go far. Without me, you will be lost to the unfeeling night. We can't have that. Those of us unaccounted for can easily become a danger to the masquerade. That's the main reason why, with your sire gone, the prince wanted you out of the picture too. Concierge returned, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives with polite smile, leans in to whisper in her ear. You note that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told the gallery is just about to close, but we still have quite a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts on makes you remember last night's encounter in the showroom. A similar eagerness to spend time with this person overtakes you momentarily, and you follow her outside. Your sixth sense tells you she's an artistic soul, too. And you unwittingly start projecting good qualities onto her. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. You've heard the prince refer to our traditions. The chief among them is the masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing time, our comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts, so the vast majority of kind we remain bedtime stories and pulp culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little bit more dejected than before. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe. Allows us to explain away the occasional trip up to the rational minds of 21st century humanity. Dictates much of our interaction with mortals. Is there anything the movies got right? Has to be some stuff that the books and movies got right, or is it all just vampire propaganda? There is a kernel of truth in every myth. Those concerning kindred are no exception. There are mortals who sift through and manage to separate the facts, though it doesn't happen thanks to Hollywood. For one, sunlight burns us. That's why we rest during the day. You felt it. More like being dead than being dormant, isn't it? But we have no choice. We are night dwellers, but day sleepers. Some more folk-related threats are just legends or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols don't repel us, unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Stake through the heart, though. That's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze, which under the right circumstances can often be the same thing. That's the reason to have somebody like my trusted driver, Gregory, making sure you're safe when you drift away. You have many enemies, and they often know their advantages lies with daylight. Do vampires watch these other back? You mentioned enemies. I guess that makes it necessary to watch these other backs. Can you count on other vampires for that? She surprised you by letting out a soft chuckle before answering. No. Our little sex supplies social interactions aplenty. Hey, demonic! How you doing? Got your video today. Dang, that looks intense. I am ready. Think they said a special edition is free? I mean, the anniversary edition gets upgraded for free for you? I'm not too sure. I hope so. Our little sex supply social interactions are plenty, but it doesn't really encourage counting on someone. Support given in exchange for favors, yes, that's more like it. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Carmelia, but we are a politicized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. When you're in Elysium, like we were tonight, the sect can appear to be a monolith. The reality is more complex. Outside of official gatherings, shady deals, and a quid pro quo mentality reigns supreme. Ah! Okay. I like that. I like free stuff. Part of me is tempted just to wait until I get a PS5 and just get the whole anniversary like that. Unless it's $49.99, then forget that. She seems to be lost in thought and falls silent for a while, leaving you to ponder all the things you've learned tonight. Still feels absolutely unreal, but as piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you've witnessed. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but the one you keep returning to is what your place in this new reality should be. The car stops. You are in the city, in front of an old but renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? I get my own apartment? That's neat. Consider it the first of many gifts that I'm able to grant in exchange for loyalty. Come upstairs. She leads you to a small hall with a night guard who greets Miss Langley with a good evening. Ah, you got it. Oh boy, you're back in the game. I'm glad it worked out, because I know fixing these things is a pain in the ass. Good evening, and you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Because yeah, I had the base PS4 when I think the disk drive stopped working. I took it to the repair shop and the guy said it would take $250 just to open it. I said, the hell with this. Let me save up the other $250 and buy a new one. The size of all manners of amenities you can expect from a modern apartment, and some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room has a comfortable looking bed and thick steel door with several sturdy looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you like it? This is great. Thanks. I'm glad. Make yourself at home. Tomorrow I'll take you hunting and discuss the blood in more detail. I'll let you get comfortable. The keys are by the television set. I will come pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room for rest. You can lock the doors just in case. Stings a bit when she leaves. It's like the room suddenly become a few shades dimmer. Inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing. No regular food either. Damn. No packets of blood. How can I live like this? Feeling strange, the Quater could be more thoughtful host than your new sire. Even if only in that respect. You briefly wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. Ooh. No, use an older version, now have the latest. Oh boy. Oh, no words. Ugh. You think you can work your way around it? Or guess your way around it? Kind of reminds me how, like, they say you gotta go through the stuff to set a Japanese account for your PlayStation and Switch. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Knowing me, I switch the titles, then I can't get back to my English account. But I'm tempted to. Alright, at least you're good in the clear. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns, Kojak reruns, President of the United States got himself in a serious trouble again. President of the United States got himself out of trouble again. Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that one. Pundits start yelling over each other about things that seemed a little bit less insignificant just 2 days ago. You started drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations and worldview-shattering revelations. How many more before you finally understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to the life you left behind, the people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. You wonder when you'll have the chance for either. You start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night. You settle in the back room. The bed is comforting. The lack of windows less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you realize it's the closest you'll ever come to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. Holy shit! A few minutes later, your consciousness fades and you take the plunge into darkness again. Sinking, 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 sinking. Ah, yeah. Guess we're going to sleep. So that's the whole layout of the city. Oops. Stop doing that! Hunger is at the heart of a vampire's existence. To ignore it is to tempt the beast to take over in its desire to feed. To overindulge in feeding may threaten the masquerade, while staining what humanity you have left. In Cortiers of New York, having high hunger indicated by a progressively thicker blood frame on the screen like the one you see now. As your hunger grows, so does this indicator. Your hunger may increase. Call upon your vampiric powers or when you need to mend your wounds after a fight. Then what each priest said. Okay, that's a weird list of tags. Leaders, teams, and when your hunger reaches maximum level, you will receive a warning after you complete a piece of the story. Ignore it at your own peril. Okay, folks, I can't ignore this or I'll start eating people and they're going to chop off my head. Because the executioner likes to play baseball and he's always got that samurai sword on him. Some choices might only become visible if your hunger is high enough. Similarly, high hunger may block off some choices, as you will be able to see after pressing continue. Oh, we got a Mass Effect situation here. Blocked off options. To decrease your hunger, you will need to feed. Whenever you see a feeding opportunity, you can take the risk to hunt and slack your hunger. Yeah. You will need to keep the hunger at bay if you are to uphold the masquerade and survive the nights that await you. Okay. You open your eyes. The bed isn't warm. The room is filled with artificial light from the ceiling. The solid metal door is closed. Normally you'd stretch for a bit. On some mornings you'd probably throw the quilt over yourself and snooze a moment longer. But that was before. The way you woke up now, you are fully conscious. No grogginess. Nothing weighing you down, just a nagging need in the back of your head. Hunger. Not as severe as the last time, but unmistakably there. You get up and open the door to the main room. The digital clock on the TV shows you the time, 9:04 p.m. You walk over to the blinds and retract them cautiously. The only light coming in is New York City's artificial nighttime luminescence. So, that's what your waking hours are going to look like now. You missed the sunlight already. You're seriously considering just walking out of the apartment and figuring this all out yourself, but then you come back to the memory of Cater's exotic sword being raised in the gallery. Maybe sticking around isn't that bad of an idea after all. You keep jumping channels for around half an hour and then switch to streaming services. Almost as if the universe had a sense of irony, you kiss True Blood in the flood of recommendations. Oh shit. Doorbell rings. Sophie. Good evening, Gambetto. Slept well? Like a dead man. Curious wording, but not that far from the truth, I suppose. No use dwelling on it. I think you will agree with time. You made the right choice yesterday. I can teach you many things about yourself, your blood, its desires and its powers. We will begin tonight. You're hungry, yes? I'm sure you are. Our kind as always is. There is only one remedy, the blood. The drinks we had yesterday at Elysium are not the usual way you slack your thirst. So tonight, I will assist you in your first foray into hunting. You need to learn to sense the kind of blood you desire, to understand how you can use the kind's vulnerabilities to your advantage. Let's see. So let me get this straight. We are predators. Humans are prey. That's pretty grim. I know what you feel. I remember the notion. But you will inevitably grow beyond it. You need blood to thrive. But there are many ways to take it, some more humane than others. You'll find that drinking moderate amounts of it regularly will keep the hunger and the whispers of the beasts away. You might think yourself monstrous, but there is a balance to be found here. The kiss gives the kind pleasure. You might remember this from your own embrace. Some can even become addicted to the sensation. But if you do it right, they tend to remember your feeding. After all, vampires do not exist. They are myths, fairy tales, and pop culture mainstays, correct? She gives you a sly, knowing smile. That is why the masquerade is so important, and even more crucial when you feed. I say... How do you select a victim? How do I choose who to feed from? Are there better or worse, targets? Isolated kind are easiest prey, of course, but much depends on context. Hunting requires a different approach in a busy club than it does on an empty street. With time, you will have the luxury of finding your preference in hunting methods and prey. For now, I suggest experimenting in moderation. Feeding from the same area repeatedly can be dangerous, but by branching out, you risk the error of other kindred on whose domains you trespass. Lucky for you, New York City is more forgiving in this regard. New York is in somewhat of a unique position. Many of its neighbors remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves these upcoming nights. As long as you hunt cautiously, respect the masquerade at all times, you should be fine. To what? I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs. Gregory is awaiting for us. The busy streets fill the air with traffic noise, pedestrians chatter, and a mix of smells that disorient you momentarily. These warm bodies contain what you want, what you need. You catch yourself. Did you really just think of these people as mere sources of food? Blood? It takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. Her driver opens the door for her, then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. The car casually joins the somewhat thin New York traffic. It's still busy in a way only one of the biggest cities in the world can be, but compared to the daytime commute, it's a pleasant drive. You barely have time to gather your thoughts and formulate new questions before the car comes to a stop. You're among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. You feel a pang of emotion as you realize this is where you took part in the exhibition just 2 nights prior. Same address and you suspect same hall. To what ends has it been repurposed tonight? Come, Gambetto. Park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver nods and Sophie gets out. Just one sec. Sophie gets out. You join her, and the two of you walk through the glass doors together and take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with the instruments of a string quartet in the back, and taking a few dozen chairs in front of it. The concert seeming concluded, the patrons all smartly dressed and posh, are spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside, produces an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of the security guard. You follow close and are let through without issue. Let's start easy. Social setting like this one would usually prove quite challenging to an inexperienced kindred, but consider this evening a small gift from your patron. I'm hoping to procure for you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage her. Now, let's see here. Ah, there he is. She noticed somebody in the crowd, flashes a heart-melting smile, and suddenly even you feel drawn to her. You haven't thought about it before, but it's laid clear before you in this moment. Sophie is beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost tripping over himself to reach her, clearly agrees. Edgar, I'm so happy to see you. How is your daughter? Is she with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl, come over, please. There is somebody I'd like you to meet. The young woman who walks across the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and the partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is Gambito. I think the two of you should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awfully boring stuff, I assure you. I'm positive you will like each other. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure of what exactly Sophie expects you to do. You reach a secluded space for which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. They listen intently and laugh when she does. Julie saves you the trouble of figuring out the next step. If you were Sophie, then I guess you're, you know. She puts her wrist to her lips and gives herself a theatrical nip, then looks at you. Embarrassed, but also hopeful. Huh, yeah, I do. No sense in lying here, I need a drink. She takes off her jacket, unbuttons her sleeve, then rolls it up. You see a tattoo of a cat in an astronaut suit. One feline eye winking at you. There, just enjoy. Perfectly awkward smile and a blush. It's a tough decision, y'all. If we don't drink, we'll go crazy. But if we do, it's no turning back. Well, we already reached that point, but really there's no turning back. Gonna have to drink from Julie. You take her forearm in your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down gently. It's surreal. She's just giving you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amid the bliss. There's just a taste. Sweet, fresh, sanguine. You drink. And drink. And drink. No, stop. You tear away from the girl harder than you wanted. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures. Almost as if by instincts, you lick them clean. Two holes become concealed just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly on her feet, but happy. She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes. A few tears fall into her shirt. Tears of joy. Thank you. Please, can you walk me downstairs? Please, my dad, he doesn't know. Think it's a condition. Miss Langley told him so. She leans on you and requests you to walk her over to a bench. She takes a seat and smiles at you. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? You walk over to her. Edgar, dear, it was splendid talking to you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with, Bambetto. Gregory's waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you. You can tell from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl's exquisite, don't you think? You wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. Brings out a unique banquet in her blood. She knows who we are? I think she knows who we are. That's not normal, right? It's not unusual. That much is true, but don't worry. She'll do anything I tell her to and won't say anything to anyone that I haven't put in her pretty head first. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off this time. Gregory, Flushing Meadows, please. Driver takes the car over to Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. Those people back at the hall, they were all in trance. Even I was under your spell. What was that? She smiles with satisfaction. That old trick? That's just the blood doing my bidding. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people to make them fear me. I see more of the world in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace, and more. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. How exactly do I use these talents? You will the blood to do your bidding. Many times you'll find you do these things intuitively, almost passively, but making an entire room focus their attention on you, that is tempting the beast. Always keep the masquerade in mind. However, it's all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind. But save those overt talents for the right place and time. Ooh. Only takes you half an hour to reach the park at this time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car. But Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight. The stars just barely visible in the light-polluted aura of the city. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go look for somebody to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But only pick one victim. Just one. Then come back. Seeing how she seems not altogether here right now, you decide to leave Sophie to her own devices. Seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger, or someone like them could work. But focusing on an area might work better. New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot. There's a skate park nearby. Worst case scenario, there's bound to be some unfortunate wino around. Maybe the tennis court's nearby. There's light coming from there, so somebody might still be playing a late night match. They won't be alone, but they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. Alright, it's time to find a victim, a willing participant to help us slack our thirst. Let's see. Nah, we gotta ignore that option. We need that blood. Trying to think. Which place would be better? The pavilion? Around the park. You start walking. The park's many avenues must hold a great spot or two for a predator like yourself. You pass 2 soccer fields and circle around where the fountain of the planets once awed visitors in a spectacle before coming across an opportunity. A woman, a small duffel bag in her arm, is making her way through the park in a hurry. He doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. I say presence. You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering on her. It might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. For a moment you're thinking how an old guy in a hood could peer over your shoulders saying, "Use the force, Gambetto." Feels ridiculous. But then something stirs within you. There's a confidence there. An allure you might have had before, but one that's increased manifold in this moment. Catch the woman's eye. She flashes an unsure smile, almost in spite of herself, as she passes you by. Wait, please. She tense, grips her bag close but attentive. Her eyes lock into yours. Slight smile is there again. Yes, what is it? Almost intuitively, you close the distance between you. She can't look away. She's unprepared for what follows. In a swift move, you grab her and bite down. Her surprise resonates in her blood. Hot, excited, fast flowing, she tenses up, then relaxes. The duffel bag hits the ground. Bliss. Footsteps. You let go of her. She drops the bag, barely conscious. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you. What do you think you're doing, barging in on my turf like this, Lick? Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to trespass. I'll be going. Too late for that, friendo. You want to leave here in one piece, you talk. Candidly. I know what you are, so you can shove that masquerade misdirection up your ass. Now, better tell me who you're with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you. You talk big, but I'm thinking you're just a chump. Want to prove me wrong? He tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look, and bares his fangs. You don't want to push your luck, dumb fuck. My crew is an earshot, one shot away, and you're D-O-N-E. Done. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to dance, let's dance. Once I'm through, I'm gonna hand you over to Callahan, and you're gonna be sorry I didn't finish you off instead. You know what? I think we can take him. I just drunk blood. I am ready to go. You rush him and throw him off balance, landing on the ground. He's fast but weak. The brawl takes a bit out of both of you. Suddenly you hear hairy footsteps closing in. The thug is snatched from over you. He hits a tree hard, and before you can recover, a sharp piece of wood pierces his chest. It's Gregory, Sophie Driver, who deals the blow. The hoodlum is rendered inert. His eyes remain open, but he does not move and does not protest when Gregory puts him over his shoulder. Miss Langley is waiting for us. Come before your snack wakes up. She points to your victim, who is just coming to, and gives you a somewhat snarky smile, then breaks into a swift walk towards the Unisphere. Hey, thanks for the help. Miss Langley asked me to look out for you. She suspected you'd get into trouble. He seems to realize he might have said too much and just keeps walking, somewhat embarrassed. You reach the Unisphere together with the hoodlum in tow. Two figures are visible near the sculpture, a man and a woman, tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. Just one sec, folks. I need a drink. It's Sophie, feeding. But this whole scene is set up that it looks like a pair getting intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him towards a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. She nods to Gregory as you approach. And what do we have here? Did this kindred give you trouble, Gambetto? He mentioned a Callahan. He said something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, then recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anarch. Then curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred last I checked. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Cater tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this unbound acquaintance. Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight, and you're quite happy you're not in that poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing his stuff into your car and driving away. But then you remember that Sophie has been doing this far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera, or picked up by a rando with half a decent smartphone and streamed online, fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is dangerous business. It's clear that the whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I'll pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium. Expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Cater and the Prince. I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery early tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. What's going to happen to him? The usual, I imagine. Interrogation by Cater, and probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial with the Prince in attendance. She's there tomorrow night. A swift execution as the verdict. This all sounds eerily familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow night. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I hope. I think so. I think I like drinking blood. Think I am. Yeah, I'll go. I'm glad. Doesn't question you further. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We'll pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. And just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory, with the body in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it will take time to process. You're not in the mood for television. The few books on the shelves in the apartment are either in the languages you don't speak, or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door, a moment of hesitation. Then a decision. This time you turn the lights off. You think back to Julie. How many people in the city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park, if he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night when you can start crossing them off the list instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. Greet you with open arms like an old friend. Up, time for sleep, folks. Oh! Man, they gotta stop doing this. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here. The blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the lights. You grasp for a switch, flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows come into view. You emerge from the bedroom, fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated in the sofa in your living room space. Book in her hand, The Melancholy Resistance. The title sure on brand. Good evening, Gambetta. Oops, sorry to have kept you waiting. To be fair, I haven't been here long. I was enjoying reminiscing about the time when I called this my haven. The decor was much different, of course. Come, we have an appointment. See word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. It should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. Ooh. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you'll do well to at least learn about. Say, who should I talk to? Who I should talk to when I arrive? Not especially. My advice would be try to talk to the prince. Perhaps reassure her of your gratefulness for being spared. Maybe speak to Cato on the same topic if you get a hold of him. Primogen I would advise against. They are rather stuck up, all told, and even we'll talk to you, they might try to secure you for some nefarious purpose. I wouldn't appreciate that. Of course, be respectful if anybody approaches you and strikes up a conversation. You will no doubt be gossiped about, as will I. Keep a cool head. Some enjoy provoking fledglings into stupid acts. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching, but it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. Ooh, I need another drink. Stepping to the art hole was something of a bad memory. Last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down. And existence nearly ended. But tonight, there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Cater gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie Gambetto. Did I get that right? Good evening to you, both of you. I understand there's somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight. Yes, Prince, they will be joining us shortly. Our assistant is retrieving them. Presently. Oh, God. Forgot how much reading really hurts my throat. Anyway, let's get back. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Cater a cold glance. Forget the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Gambetto's begetter eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch. That must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. Mention of your sire makes you feel a pang of emotion again. Whoever he was, he left a lasting impression. One reinforced with your visit to the show space last night. That's the past. Right now, though, you're back in the gallery and are reminded of your sister instead. Emma frequents this place. Is she aware of the clandestine meetings after dark? The flame of whispers in the gallery halls breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show is about to start. Sophie Drivers places his charge in the middle of the room, nods respectfully to Cater. The sheriff approaches the vampire, removes the stake from his chest. Captor's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Cater steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Why? Who do we have here? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. No, come on. No. Don't. Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. Seems like it takes all the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. No, please, don't hurt me, man, don't! You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs at the prince's discretion. Please go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go. He doesn't wait for a confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming out the room. Conversations start all around you, some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. I see. For how cultured you all seem, torturing somebody in an art gallery doesn't seem to faze you. Oh please, do keep your naivety to yourself. Power and violence have always been two sides of the same coin. Most of us here are far too old to bother with keeping up appearances. Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gather. The concierge offers you a drink. Still warm, it smells nice. Just a sip to start you off. Splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to the bespectacled man who you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. He makes the round, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near a column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. Okay, let's mingle, let's talk. I say, let's talk to the prince. Thank you for not chopping our head off. You approach the prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as you step forward, her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for just a moment, Samira. Yes, Gambado, what is it? I wanted to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realized it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from the kindness of my unbeating heart. You are an asset to Miss Langley, to the Camarilla, and to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred of the city that it was so. There might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. Dark-skinned woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me, that's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Gambito. And same to you, Prince Fernard. Prince nods and turns back to the other woman to continue their conversation. You notice Sophie mingling with other kindred, clearly in her element, not to be disturbed. Cater hasn't come back yet, so you can probably still find time for at least one conversation. Okay, who's the mingle? The man with the glasses? Confront the man looking at you. Now we need to get some info on all the people around us, so let's confront this dude. You see, the guy with the glasses, he seems important too. Damn. Let's see. Alright. You confront the man looking for something about this guy. It's not that he's staring at you. Most everybody in this room has, at one point or another. And how he does it, he seems shy, maybe even afraid. Hard to find a secluded spot in the gallery tonight, but this guy has an entire corner of the room all to himself. As you approach, he's standing alone with no glass in hand. Worried look on his face. You look worried. Is something wrong? What, besides hanging out with blood-drinking monsters and acting like it's not a big deal? No, I guess it's business as usual. His bitterness is palpable. Sorry, having a bad night. The name's Larson. You can call me Robert. Either's fine. Why are you standing around by yourself like this? I'm not hugely liked around these parts. I'm surprised you wanted to talk to me. Then again, you're new, so you probably don't know. I'm one of Prince Panhard's Primogen. I'm here on business in case the prince requires my insight. Usually it's so she can hear me out before ignoring me. Not sure if you were paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on whether you should be executed or not, that was me. I was the diverging opinion. Not that I'm ungrateful, but out of curiosity, what was your reasoning? My reasoning? Just common sense, that you shouldn't be blamed for being assaulted and essentially murdered, to boot. But as Cater loves to say, the traditions are clear. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice? Stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as Primogen to be some kind of a joke, you know. You talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll hold it against you. With a look behind you, you see the few of the kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman in particular, a redhead boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly. Some of them already do, I imagine. Excuse me, I need to try to get a word in with a few Primogen members before Cater returns. Enjoy your night. With just the critical look of a few kindred to keep you company, you start thinking about who to pursue next. A loud exchange near the case grabs everybody's attention. Cater is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. That stupid hat is still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined faces in welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making the pant leg bulge. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Cater, did our guest cooperate? Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. Who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. An Anarch Cortier, my prince, active for some time now, though from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group has kept over the years. I see. Hey, Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know. I didn't. A loud cracks make some of the guests audibly gasp as Cater slaps dislocates the man's jaw. A spray of blood creates something like abstract art piece on the floor. This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla, and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That alone will be enough to pass with his judgment, but he is also Anarch scum. My prince. There can be only one verdict. Final death. Do your duty, Sheriff. Unless, of course, somebody would like to play at being a good Samaritan like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm under yours in a strange public show of affection. Nobody says anything. A vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. In a split second, you make your choice. You dash forward and hit Howard with your shoulder. Oh no! He crashes into a painting. 4 abstract shapes and a skill for some reason and falls down. You pin him to the floor, but his survival instincts make him a tough opponent to keep down. You turn the table, he sets down on you and tries to bite you. His head disappears from his shoulders, Cater's blade slashing just centimeters from your face. Unseen lump of decaying in front of your eyes, the lifeless body weighs you down. You throw it off, straighten your attire, and look to the crowd. Well, Gambetto, your eagerness is laudable, if unnecessary. That Chauffeur couldn't have hoped to escape his fate, not facing Cater's expertise. However, I've made a note of the show of loyalty on both you and your patron's account. I'd like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this Anarch thug to my and Cater's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory. It's a rhetorical question. Everybody here knows it. Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you. She steps out of the room, and you see the many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. Probably have time to strike up conversation of your own. Cater al-Asame is still here, but clearly getting ready to leave. Larson's still moping around. Another man you noticed before Cater, but Anarchin is still chatting with the remaining attendants. Sociable man or a Cater? Well, it's always good to have the executioner behind you. Shermu seems to have improved, so you decide you want to get a better shot at saying your piece. He's just sheathing his sword as you approach him. He notices you just before his face turns from a melancholic frown back to his regular predatory smirk. You seem to have caught him in a moment of reflection. What is it, Gambetto? I want to thank you for bringing me here in one piece, for giving me a chance. An emotion creeps onto Cater's face that you haven't seen the sheriff exhibit yet. Is that gratitude? It's fleeting, only there for a moment, gone in a blink of an eye. It was trying on my nerves, and you are still far and away from proving that it was the right thing to do, so don't think that a few kind words will let you off the hook. Still, I have to admit, it was a surprise as a prince when you jumped at the opportunity to stop the Anarch from escaping. Sure, Valerie would have beat you to it. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave. I see. Let's see. Let's ask about Sophie. I was wondering if you could tell me something about Sophie. She talks a lot about the Camarilla and other things, but I barely know anything about her. Oh, I can tell you something about Sophie. Some things she wouldn't want you to hear, like the fact she's manipulative and vindictive. But then again, which of us kindred aren't? You want to know more about Sophie's past? Ask her. She's unlucky to tell you the truth, though. I'm quite sure she never told me, despite our previous history. That's what we do, fledgling. We exist for centuries and we lie. To our families, our friends, our lovers, to our kindred, sires, and childer. To ourselves. He picks up the sword and turns towards the stairs. Good night. And watch yourself. You've messed up my batting average, so I'll be sure to keep a close eye on you. That final threat, he leaves the gallery. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting even, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's waiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something and not in a talkative mood. Walk a ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building. There's 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs through a very nice lobby, a luxurious-looking hall into her domain. Please have a seat. I shall be right with you. Take in your surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery. Old-school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once, and a nouveau riche life living room, meticulously combined together. Apologies, old habits die hard. Clearly some stick with you even after your death. Alright, folks. I think we will stop right here. I know, it's getting good, huh? And with that, I will catch y'all later. Tomorrow, I'm going to switch it up this weekend. I want to play a game that I've been dying to play during Halloween. So we're going to have play that Saturday and Sunday, and we will be back next week with more Skyrim. Anyway, this term is Gambit, and I will catch all of you later. Thanks for stopping by. And enjoy your holiday weekend. Woo! Later days.